Good day, everyone. I am one of the reporter in Module 4, which is developing specific type of materials, and I was assigned to report the lesson 4.5, materials for the developing of speaking skills. So at the end of this lesson, you guys will be able to number 1, differentiate the two nature of the speaking skills. Number 2, examine the proposals for methodologies to teach speaking. Number 3, discuss the framework for developing a specific syllabus. And determine the importance of having good speaking skills. So, in this lesson, I have 4 motivation questions. First bullet, how important it is for us to have a good speaking skills. Second bullet, do you think having a good speaking skill can help you as an individual? Third bullet, what are the advantages of having a good speaking skill? Number 4, thus having a good speaking skills is an asset for an English teacher like you. So later you will be able to answer these questions. Now let's proceed with our proper discussion. So Bygate in year 2001 suggests 3 reasons why a focus on speaking as a skill has taken so long to emerge. Firstly, the grammar translation method, which held sway for so long and still does in some parts of the world, prioritized reading and writing. Secondly, it is only recently that technological developments have facilitated the close study of spoken language, especially through spoken corpora. Thirdly, oral production was central to methodologies such as the audiolingual and the direct method, and a confusion has arisen between intensive oral practice of discrete language points and speaking as a skill in its own right. So, in addition, speaking skills occupy a curious position in contemporary English language teacher. The importance of speaking skills appears obvious. The global spread of English, along with improved communication systems, provides economic, political, academic, and social reasons for learning to speak English. The importance of speaking skills seems to be further underlined by the prevalence in many areas of the world of communicative language teaching, a methodology which prioritizes speaking. Now let's move on with the nature of the speaking skill. So we have the process and the product. So process speaking is a demanding enough skill even in first language. As Burns and Hill of year 2013 note, speaking is a complex mental process combining various cognitive skills virtually simultaneously and drawing on working memory of words and concepts while self-monitoring. Leveled in year 1989 identifies 4 separate sub-processes in the speaking skill. So we have conceptualization, formulation, articulation, and self-monitoring. So conceptualization involves generating the content the speaker wishes to express. Formulation entails selecting the language to express the content generated and organize it according to the norms of a particular genre. Articulation is the physical production of the sounds required to encode the message. Lastly is the self-monitoring. These processes are self-monitored so that the speaker can ensure that all is going to plan, a process which will include attention to affective factors such as the relationship with the interlocutors. Next is the product. So spoken corpus research in recent years has shed much light on the nature of spoken language. Illustrative examples of this kind of research are provided by TIMIS in year 2013. First is the high frequency of discourse markers such as well, just, and right in conversation. Next bullet, the frequent use of collocation in conversation. Example, you know a bit, come on, of Shein and Nation in 2008. Lastly, the frequent use of non-canonical grammatical features such as tails or right dislocation. Example, they are changeable, these Morse. I have here a framework for developing a speaking syllabus in terms of an overall framework for developing is a speaking syllabus. That of 2013 proposes the following steps. Number 1, conceptualizing learners' need. Number 2, translating needs to subject matter and communication situations. Number 3, identifying verbal communication strategies. Number 4, utilizing verbal sources from real life. And lastly, designing skill acquiring activities. That of 2013 stresses that we need to consider both objective and subjective needs, and that needs analysis should be an ongoing process. As he acknowledged in year 2013, it is crucial that learners are aware of their needs if this kind of framework is to be of value. The more specifically learners state their needs, the more appropriately the subject matter can be established towards appropriate sets of topics, situations, functions, strategies, registers, and key structures as can the source to build all these components with. Now we will be moving to methodology for teaching speaking. Is it a process or a product? So once we have established the features and skills we need to teach, we need to decide on a methodology. My Guide of year 2001 suggests that we may need a different kind of methodology for teaching the speaking skill. Oral skills and oral language should be practiced and assessed under different conditions from written skills and listening skill, unlike the various traditional approaches to providing oral practice. A distinct methodology and syllabus may be needed. Here is an evaluation of methodology for teaching speaking. So, in the review of three course books, Inside Out, Face to Face, and Outcomes, Burns and Hill in 2013 argue that the dominant methodology, even for spoken language, remains behaviorist. They lament in particular that the speaking activities are add-ons after reading, writing, and vocabulary work, and that the role of the listener or conversation partner is given insufficient attention. As we noted above, a detailed materials to develop speaking and writing skills, 127 evaluations of three course books in terms of the speaking skill was also carried out by Norton, who focused on the following books: Advanced Innovation, Real Listening and Speaking, and Touchstone 2. Unlike Burns and Hill in 2013, Norton does not note in these course books some shift in methodological emphasis towards a noticing approach. Cullen and Kuo in year 2007 identified an approach to teaching spoken language which generally included some or all of the following components. First bullet, exposure to the feature through a semi-scripted listening text. Second bullet, global comprehension task on the listening text. Third bullet, focus on the target feature through repeated listening or use of the transcript. Next is the brief explanation of the feature and questions. Last bullet, short controlled practice activity. Now let's move with the proposals for methodologies to teach speaking. So we have three, and these are the text-based proposals, task-based proposals, and pre-task. Let us have first the text-based proposal. So, alternative methodological frameworks for teaching spoken language have indeed been proposed by McCarthy and Carter in year 1995 and Timmis in year 2005. McCarthy and Carter proposed an III paradigm consisting of illustration, induction, and interaction, whereas Timmis in year 2005 proposed a framework incorporating cultural access task, listening task, noticing task, and language discussion task. Both of these frameworks take spoken text as a starting point and focus on noticing and awareness raising rather than production. Now let's tackle the task-based proposals. So task-based approaches are not dedicated solely to the development of the speaking skills. It has been argued that specific 128 materials development for TESOL aspects of task-based frameworks offer rich opportunities for work on speaking skills. So there is evidence, for example, that allowing learners planning time before task can pay the dividends in terms of fluency and or accuracy and or complexity of language produced. So, among the potential benefits of pre-task planning are we have four. First, more experimentation with complex or new forms to express complex ideas. Second, better monitoring during task performance. Number three, greater fluency. And lastly, improved accuracy in certain tasks. Lastly is the pre-task. So pre-task work may involve gathering ideas, planning the discourse structure, or deciding on what lexis or grammar to use. Task type is also likely to have an effect on both accuracy and fluency. So in general, for example, linguistic complexity seems to be affected by the cognitive complexity of the task. So the more cognitively complex the task, the less complex the language. Willis in year 1996 suggests that a focus on accuracy and complexity might come at a post-task reporting phase, though they do not specify that the report should be spoken. Research also suggests that learners can benefit from repeating tasks, summarizes the potential benefits of task repetition. So it has a great fluency, more idiomatic speech and lexical accuracy, better framing of narratives, greater grammatical accuracy in some tasks, and greater language complexity. Now we have here on how to evaluate three speaking activities from a course book. So first is to know what is the topic of the speaking task. Next, how are the learners prepared for the task? Example, through listening a pod or reading text, or through pre-teaching specific language, or through pair or group preparation. Next is there any follow-up to the speaking task? So I have here the importance of having good speaking skills. So effective communication is an art. There's always room to keep learning, growing, and developing our talents. This is why we always need to be continuously developing this skill. The benefits of having good communication skills are enormous and will have a great influence on both your personal and professional life. So now we are on our conclusion. So we close this chapter by synthesizing the main points we have made in each of the two main sections. We argue that materials for speaking skills need to respond to the complexity and demanding nature of the skill. So, we have learned that speaking has long been a priority in English language teacher. The focus on speaking has often been unsystematic due to a failure to distinguish between speaking as a grammar or vocabulary and practice and speaking as skill development. Also, the real pressure and the interactive and interpersonal concerns which typically accompany speaking have an effort on the nature of spoken language so that it differs from written language in important ways. Example, grammatical and lexical choice and syntactic complexity. In addition, we also have learned that there are two types of speaking syllables. Though they are not mutually exclusive, a syllabus of spoken language features, example, ellipses, discourse markers, and a syllables of discourse types, example, conversation, service encounters, and presentations. Lastly, we have also stressed the importance of the skill of speaking. Indeed, it has arguably become more important as educational policymakers internationally have placed greater focus on spoken language skills. It is said by Burns and Hill in 2013. That's all for today. I hope you learned something. Thank you, God bless, and keep safe, everyone.